Shortly after LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight was revealed at Gamescom Opening Night Live 2025, creators and news outlets were given the chance to actually try it out at the LEGO booth and share some footage. So here's everything we've learned so far from the newly released gameplay. The first thing players encountered was a combat difficulty selection screen with 3 options. Classic, which is the typical LEGO gaming experience of having unlimited lives with the fewest enemies, while Cape Crusader introduces more. However, Dark Knight is very different than what we've come to expect. Not only are there more enemies, but you'll also have limited lives. Moving into the pre-alpha, the build available at Gamescom only included the starting area of Tricorner Island, as well as the discovery that stuffed animals received at the docks contained illicit substances, as seen in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. However, there are several differences compared to that film. Here, it's not Falcone or Scarecrow that's responsible, but instead Red Hood 1. In fact, Falcone was actually arrested sometime before this level. Also, Batman is joined by Jim Gordon, both of which are based on their appearance in the 2022 The Batman film and takes place at Ace Chemicals. The objective here is to find 3 teddy bears and analyze them for their contents. As we get to the gameplay, the interface is quite different than previous titles from TD Games. The health is now at the bottom left and uses 8 hearts instead of the 4 hearts of older LEGO games, 8 half hearts of the more modern ones, or the Skywalker Saga's continuous health bar. We also see the counter for both studs and Wayne Tech chips on the top right, with the former seeing a pretty major change. You can now find bronze studs, each of which are worth just 1 stud. Funnily enough, these actually made their first appearance in LEGO Horizon Adventures, where they had the same value. There's also a stud meter, which once filled will give you a stud multiplier, although the classic stud bar seems to be missing. Then, on the bottom, we get the tool selection, with each playable character having their own unique abilities. Batman has his signature grappling hook and Batarang, while Jim Gordon wields a foam sprayer, which can be used to patch leaks and stun enemies, a ricochet launcher full of rubber bullets that bounce off walls and destroy all nearby objects, as well as his own grappling hook and a deployable glider. According to the official website's FAQ page, we can also expect Robin to have his line launcher and Catwoman to carry her signature whip. Speaking of the playable characters, you'll be playing as Batman for the entire game, with your partner changing as you progress. You'll start off accompanied by Talia al Ghul as you train with the League of Shadows before returning to Gotham and joining up with Jim Gordon. Afterwards, you'll team up with Catwoman, and after visiting the circus with her, you'll meet Dick Grayson, who becomes Robin. As time progresses, he'll eventually turn into Nightwing, while Jim Gordon has a daughter, Barbara Gordon, who becomes Batgirl. One major detail which we also got from the interview is the fact that this game will be entirely focused on Batman. This means that while characters like Batmine and Condiment King are confirmed to be present, Superman will notably not be included. As you progress through the level, the inspiration taken from Rocksteady's Arkham series is incredibly obvious, with the gliding, takedowns, grappling hook, and ledge grabbing. The camera even goes into first person when going through vents, and that's not even mentioning the classic combo meter. You'll first start off in stealth, trying to avoid detection, as indicated by these interrogation mark meters. It's here that the forensic scanner is especially useful, as it allows you to detect enemies through walls. However, the way that you approach each level is entirely up to you. You can either silently pacify enemies, use the environment to your advantage, or just start mashing the punch button with the occasional dodge. Speaking of the fighting, you'll regularly encounter stronger variants of enemies, like ones wielding shields or guns, which will require special moves to defeat. You'll also notice a meter slowly filling with every attack, and after it's fully charged, you'll be able to do a finishing strike, which is a much stronger takedown or a focused lunge. Something I also noticed in some of the footage was the presence of these yellow barriers around certain areas, which makes you think that Batman may occasionally be restricted to a specific area until all enemies have been defeated. Once we make it to a bear, checking its components is not a simple interaction, but instead its own minigame where you have to associate the elements to identify the substance contained in it. Beyond upgrades to both your gadgets and skills, which you can buy using Wayne Tech chips and skill bricks respectively, you'll be able to unlock additional suits, Batmobiles, as well as Batcave customization. There are 100 total outfits to unlock in the game. For example, Batman can equip the Batsuit from the Golden Age, unlockable by creating a WB Games account, as well as ones from Brave and the Bold, The Dark Knight, the Batman, and this rainbow suit, the latter of which was last seen in the DLC for LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham over a decade ago. As for the Batmobile, you'll start with the Batman's modified muscle car before being able to unlock his Batcycle, as well as the Tumbler from the Dark Knight trilogy, the Batmobile from the Tim Burton films, and many more inspired from movies, TV shows, and video games. You'll unlock them as you progress through the game, like the Tumbler coming in at a time where Batman needs more firepower to deal with new villains, while others will be purchasable using studs at one of Batman's shops in Gotham City. Meanwhile, Jim Gordon gets access to a variety of police vehicles. Finally, while it wasn't shown off at Gamescom, you'll be able to customize the Batcave and expand it to showcase all the items that you've collected throughout your playthrough. Once all 3 bears are analyzed, Lucius Fox analyzes them and states that they could be combined to create a deadly airborne toxin. Batman and Gordon then make their way into the factory. It's here that we encounter Red Hood 1, who reveals that combining the previously discovered chemicals together makes the Joker's classic laughing gas. It's also here that we fight our first Brute, a much larger enemy that requires stunning it to even be able to damage it. You have to make sure to dodge its charging and slamming attacks in between. As we make our way deeper in the facility, the bridge to the other side collapses and you'll have to build something to get across. It's here again that the forensic scanner is incredibly useful, as it will highlight important parts of the level. We also see that even in single player, you can do double takedowns with your ally. In fact, the second character helps a lot during combat, even doing their own finishing strikes, similarly to the LEGO Ninjago Movie video game. As we arrive into the mixing room, we get one final battle with a variety of enemies before forming up the mixing machine. However, as we try to arrest Red Hood 1, he sets the factory to explode, starting a chase sequence amid the destruction, which will require you to avoid dangers, fight enemies, and build your way around obstacles. Eventually, we catch up to him, but he lets himself fall to the toxic goop below, effectively beginning his transformation into the iconic Joker. However, as you might expect, he won't be the only villain in Gotham City, as TD Games has promised a ton more will be roaming the streets, including the Penguin, Poison Ivy, Ra's al Ghul, Bane, and the Riddler. In fact, very much like the Riddler trophies in the Arkham series, multiple villains will have challenges in the open world for you to complete. We still don't have a release date nor pricing information for LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, but we do know that it will be releasing next year for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC on both Steam and the Epic Games Store, notably making this the first title by TD Games to not launch on the 8th generation of consoles.